The flash of cameras, the roar of thousands. And on her wrist, a timepiece worth more than most people's cars. But this isn't just about a watch. This is about a moment that changed everything. A moment that millions of fans had been waiting for. A moment that sparkled with $17,000 worth of diamonds and dreams. Travis Kelce had been planning this for months, maybe longer. The Kansas City Chiefs tight end wasn't just thinking about football plays anymore. He was thinking about ring sizes, about perfect moments, about a woman who had conquered the world but was still waiting for her fairy tale. The watch arrived first. A Cartier Panther. White, gold. Diamonds cascading across the bezel like frozen stars. $17,000 of pure luxury wrapped around a wrist that had signed autographs for millions. But Taylor Swift didn't know it yet. She was just getting ready for another night. Another performance. Another chapter in a life that felt like it was written by the universe itself. 13 years old. Curly blonde hair. A guitar almost too big for her small frame. Taylor Allison Swift stood on the stage of the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville, Tennessee. Her voice trembled slightly as she sang about heartbreak she'd never experienced and love she'd only dreamed about. The audience was small, maybe 20 people, but in that moment, something magical happened. The room went silent. Not the kind of silence that means people aren't listening. The kind that means they can't look away. "That girl's going to be a star," whispered a record executive in the back corner. He had no idea how right he was. By 16, Taylor had her first #1 hit. Our song climbed the country charts like it had wings. Radio stations couldn't stop playing it. Teenage girls everywhere sang along in their bedrooms, pretending they were the ones with the perfect love story. But behind the success was a girl who was still figuring out who she was. Still writing songs in her childhood bedroom. Still wondering if anyone would remember her name in 5 years. "I just want to tell stories," she told Rolling Stone in her first major interview. Stories that make people feel less alone. She had no idea that millions of people would soon feel like they knew her better than their own friends. The transformation didn't happen overnight. It happened song by song, album by album, heartbreak by heartbreak. Jake Gyllenhaal, John Mayer, Harry Styles, Calvin Harris, Tom Hiddleston. Each relationship became a chapter. Each breakup became an album. Each album became a piece of her soul laid bare for the world to judge. "She writes about her boyfriends too much," the critics said. "She's too dramatic," they whispered. "She needs to grow up," they decided. But Taylor kept writing. Because the pain was real. The love was real. The stories mattered. 2016. The phone call that changed everything. Kim Kardashian, Kanye West. A recording that seemed to prove Taylor had lied about a song lyric. The snake emojis flooded her social media. The death threats filled her inbox. The world turned against America's sweetheart in a single night. Taylor Swift disappeared. For months, she vanished from the public eye. No Instagram posts, no paparazzi photos, no red carpet appearances. The girl who had lived her life in the spotlight suddenly craved nothing but shadow. "I felt like my career was over," she would later admit in her documentary. "I felt like everyone hated me." She spent her days in her Rhode Island mansion, writing songs that were too angry to release, too hurt to share, too raw for radio. August 2017. A single snake slithered across a black screen. The sound that followed made the internet explode. "Look What You Made Me Do" wasn't just a comeback song. It was a declaration of war. The old Taylor was dead. The new one was darker, stronger, and angrier than anyone expected. Reputation became her fastest-selling album. The stadium tour broke every record in the book. The girl who had been destroyed was now unstoppable. But fame came with a price. Security details, stalkers, death threats. A life lived behind bulletproof glass and bodyguards. The woman who wanted to tell stories now had to protect herself from becoming someone else's tragedy. Joe Alwyn, British actor, quiet where she was loud, private where she was public. For 6 years, he gave her something she'd never had before. Normalcy. Peace. A relationship that existed away from the tabloids and the cameras. They walked through London in disguises, cooked dinner together, watched movies on quiet Sunday nights. For the first time in decades, Taylor Swift felt like a regular person. Lover and Folklore and Evermore were the soundtracks to this era. Softer songs, deeper lyrics. Music that spoke of contentment instead of chaos. But even fairy tales have endings. Even love stories sometimes just ... end. The breakup was quiet. No drama, no songs filled with rage. Just to people who grew in different directions. The media barely noticed until it was over. Travis Kelce had a plan. It was bold, maybe crazy, but the best plans usually are. He was going to get Taylor Swift's attention at his own football game. I was disappointed that she doesn't talk before or after her shows, because she has to save her voice for the 44 songs that she sings, he said on his podcast. So I was a little butthurt. I didn't get to hand her one of the bracelets. With my number on it, the internet went wild. A NFL superstar publicly shooting his shot with the biggest pop star in the world. It sounded like fan fiction, but sometimes fan fiction comes true. The first game she attended changed everything. Arrowhead Stadium erupted when the cameras showed her in the VIP box, wearing Chiefs colors, cheering for number 87, looking happier than she had in years. October 2023, the first public appearance together. Holding hands, leaving a restaurant in New York City. The paparazzi photos broke the internet. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, pop princess and football prince. America's new power couple. November 2023. She flew to Argentina for his game. Kissed him on live television as he scored a touchdown. The moment went viral within minutes. Love songs started writing themselves. December 2023. He attended her concert. In a different time zone, wore friendship bracelets made by fans. Danced to her music like nobody was watching. Two worlds colliding in the most beautiful way. Asterisk, but the real moment was coming. Asterisk. The Cartier Panther arrived at the jewelry store 3 days before. The sales associate handled it like it was made of moonlight and dreams. Because in a way, it was 18-karat white gold. Diamonds set in a pattern that caught light from every angle. A face that would show the exact time. When the most important question of their lives was asked, Travis had studied her style for months. Noticed she preferred delicate pieces, classic designs, things that would last forever instead of following trends. The watch was perfect, elegant, timeless, just like the love he was about to declare. They were alone for once. No cameras, no crowds, no bodyguards standing in the corner. Just two people who had found something rare in a world that made privacy impossible. The watch glittered on her wrist as he got down on one knee. The diamonds caught the candlelight and threw rainbows across the room. Time stopped. The world held its breath. And Taylor Swift said yes. The moment I saw the ring and felt the watch on my wrist, I knew this was different. She would later tell her closest friends, this wasn't just about us anymore. This was about forever. The $17,000 timepiece became priceless in an instant. Not because of the gold or the diamonds or the designer name, but because it witnessed the moment two hearts decided to beat as one. The Cartier Panther isn't just any watch. It's a piece of art that happens to tell time. The Panther has been Cartier's symbol since 1914, a creature of power and grace, independence and beauty. Everything Taylor Swift embodied in her rise to superstar. The diamonds aren't just decoration. Each one is perfectly cut to catch light at specific angles. When she moves her wrist, the watch becomes a constellation, a galaxy of sparkles that reflects her inner light. The white gold isn't just metal, it's a promise, a commitment to quality that will last lifetimes. Like the love they're building together, like the legacy she's creating with every song she writes. $17,000 sounds like a lot of money, until you realize it's barely a fraction of what this moment means. Some things can't be measured in dollars and cents. Some things are priceless. Millions of fans around the world felt like they were part of this moment. The Swifties who had followed her through every heartbreak and triumph. The football fans who watched Travis grow from a rookie to a superstar. Two fandoms becoming one family. The engagement photos, when they came, showed the watch prominently. Social media exploded with close-up shots and zooms. Jewelry stores reported a surge in similar styles. Young women everywhere started dreaming of their own Cartier moment. "She deserves this happiness," wrote one fan. "After everything she's been through, she deserves to find her person." The comments flooded in by the thousands. Hearts and diamond emojis, stories of personal heartbreaks healed by her music. Wishes for a future filled with love songs instead of breakup ballads. It represents more than luxury, more than status, more than $17,000 worth of precious metals and stones. It represents time, the time it took to heal from past hurts. The time spent building something real with someone who sees her as more than a brand or a headline. Every tick of that watch marks a second of happiness earned. Every glance at its face shows her a future she never dared to dream about. Every diamond reflects the light of a love story that feels different from all the others. The Panther collection has dressed royalty, celebrities, icons throughout history. But none of them wore it to an engagement that felt like a fairy tale coming true. Wedding planning has begun in secret. Guest lists that read like award show attendance sheets. Venues that can accommodate the security needed for America's most famous couple. Details that will remain private until the moment she wants to share them. The watch will be there through it all. Timing dress fittings and cake tastings. Counting down the days until she becomes Mrs. Kelce. Marking the moments between now and forever. But the real story isn't about the wedding that's coming. It's about the journey that led here. Amen. The heartbreaks that taught her what love wasn't. The disappointments that showed her what she really wanted. The critics who tried to break her but only made her stronger. The main stone at the center represents her core. Unbreakable despite the pressure. Beautiful because of the work it took to polish it. Rare because there's only one Taylor Swift. In the world, the smaller diamonds around the bezel are her experiences, each one a moment that shaped her. Some shine brighter than others, but together, they create something magnificent. A constellation of a life lived fully and fearlessly. The gold that holds them all together is her strength, precious and pure. Malleable enough to be shaped by love, but strong enough to last forever. The foundation that everything else is built on. When she looks at the watch now, she doesn't just see the time. She sees the timeline. From 13-year-old songwriter to global superstar to engaged woman in love. Every second accounted for. Every minute meaningful. There will be new songs about this love. Albums that celebrate finding your person instead of losing them. Concert tours where she sings about happiness instead of heartbreak. A different kind of vulnerability shared with millions of strangers who feel like friends. The watch will be there for all of it, keeping time through late-night writing sessions, counting beats during recording sessions, marking the moments when not. Love songs pour out like prayers of gratitude, and maybe, someday, There will be little hands reaching for the shiny thing on mommy's wrist. Tiny fingers exploring diamonds that reflect their own bright futures. The next generation of the love story that started with a football player shooting his shot with a pop star. Right now, in this moment, the story is about recognition. About seeing the details that matter in a world that moves too fast to notice them. About understanding that sometimes the most important things come in small packages. Wrapped around our wrists, the Cartier Panther that Taylor Swift wore to her engagement isn't just a watch, it's a time capsule. A promise. A reminder that even pop stars dream of fairy tale endings, and sometimes, just sometimes, dreams come true. $17,000 bought more than a timepiece. It bought a witness to love, a keeper of moments, a guardian of the most important seconds in two people's lives. The next time you see Taylor Swift perform, look for the glint of diamonds on her wrist. Notice how she checks the time between songs. Watch how she smiles when the light catches the stones just right, because now you know the story. You understand what those diamonds represent. You're part of the moment that changed everything for America's sweethearts. Time keeps moving. Love keeps growing. And somewhere in the world, a $17,000 watch keeps perfect time for a love story that feels like it was written. In the stars, asterisk, the story never really ends. It just finds new chapters. Asterisk, if you loved discovering the story behind Taylor's engagement, watch. Hit that like button and subscribe for more celebrity secrets that sparkle just as bright. Because every piece of jewelry tells a story, and every story deserves to be heard.